How's everybody doing? I'm sitting here right before my Qigong class that's coming up and my Tongren class coming up tonight at the Red Barn in Durham at 6 and 7 o'clock. I meant to do this earlier, but getting it done now. So I am doing a recording for our podcast, Healing is in Your Hands, Empower Yourself Through Holistic Healing. So when I say "our," that's with my co-host Kim Fleck, and it's produced by our friend Andrea Maraskin. So we did this episode with my friend Craig Norton. This episode is going to be released tomorrow. This is episode 5 called Rhythms of Life. The title is based off of his documentary that will be coming out soon, and we will be talking about on the episode. So there was some other things that I wanted to share. And we were kind of in the flow of the episode doing the interview, so we decided to add it on at the end. So I'm going to share a little story about my medicine drum that I have here, okay? And that's what this is about. So I'm going to be turning this on and probably not really paying attention to you, trying to focus on the recording. But definitely tune in. Go to anchor.fm/healing is in your hands. The link should be up there. So the episode will be coming out tomorrow for Wellness Wednesday. And make sure you subscribe to our podcast and share with all your friends. All right, enjoy. And we'll see. This might be kind of funny. I might do a couple takes too. So we'll see how this goes. You can find Craig at www.handsondrumct.com and on Facebook, Hands on Drum CT. There's a personal story that I wanted to share in relation to when Craig was talking about the drumming with indigenous people. And we were kind of in the flow of the interview, and I didn't want to stop and start sharing my story. So we decided to share my story now. So some of you may know from our previous episode when I talked about foraging that I've done some training with a teacher of Native American traditions. And so as part of that training, we learned primitive skills, how to make fire by friction, debris shelters, and that's how I got introduced into wild foraging back in 2001. So as part of that, though, you learn a lot about Native American culture, and one of the things that I did with this man was we did sweat lodges. And a sweat lodge is basically going into a domed teepee-like structure, and you sit around a fire. There's hot stones that you actually put water on, and steam comes out, and you sit in there and sweat. You sweat out toxins, and it's a very deep meditative experience. And at the heart of that is a medicine drum, and that's what really keeps the beat and really, actually keeps you moving through the process, because sometimes it can be very intense and very hot and uncomfortable, but it's, like I said, it's a very spiritual experience. So that was one of my first introductions to drumming as a healing modality. I had done some drum circles and things of that nature and kind of gotten a gist of what it was, but when I did a sweat lodge with a medicine drum, it totally blew my mind and my whole body and spirit open. So that was pretty cool. And from that point forward, I've always kind of kept that experience in my soul, and been attracted to medicine drums and their use. And so a few years ago, I had the opportunity to take a medicine drum making workshop with a woman named Zelda Hoteling. She is part of the Mohawk tribe up in upstate New York and the Quebec region of Canada. And I did it actually with a few friends and my wife. It was a very transformative workshop. It was sometimes pretty intense. Oftentimes it was very therapeutic, very healing. It's kind of like you can't really fully explain what you go through when you do it, but I'm going to try to. But it was a very powerful experience making your own medicine drum. So, and she provides the frame for us, all the tools, and you use skins and hides from different animals. We had either elk or deer, I believe. I think those would, and then there was buffalo. That's right, there was buffalo. It was the third option. And we literally sit there and we weave and make the whole drum. And what was pretty cool, it's a very meditative experience, and you're using your intuition and really getting in touch with your spirituality through this process, and like in the whole process of making your drum, because what it is you're making the drum of your life. The drum is a representation of you. And as she taught us, as we were going through the process, we were going through like all the quadrants of our life, starting from early childhood all the way to our elderly stages, right? And you go around, she would lay out the hides, and you would go and stand on each hide. And, these were all done, as Craig said before, earlier in the episode, the animals were, blessed and with honor and respect, and to use their medicine. It's a very, spiritual practice that Native Americans use, and, honoring all of nature and using their medicine to, bring healing to the world and into our lives. So we come around the room and we step on different hides, and basically the hide will kind of tell you if it's the right one for you. And of course, for me, deer was the one that spoke to me, and deer has long been one of my animal totems, so that made perfect sense. And from there we take that hide and we make little cutouts and holes, and then we also make straps to literally weave the drum around the frame. And then we also would paint it, kind of setting our intention for what we wanted for the drum. My drum was all about the fire, burning away impurities, getting closer to the light. And then we even made this little medicine pouch. The medicine pouch had cedar leaf, tobacco, sage, and cornmeal. And these are very sacred plants in Native American tradition. And so that little pouch gets strapped on to the drum and stays with the drum at all times. We even made a mallet that was taken from the branch of the tree and with felt. And the mallet represents the child, whereas the drum represents the mother, represents us. Those were things that she was teaching us in this workshop. So how you make the medicine drum in Native American, tradition. So, it's a very sacred drum that only I can play unless I give someone else permission to use it, because the drum is me. The drum is a representation of my life. And, it was really profound experience. There's so much more to it, but, it was really important for me to share this as part of our, drumming and healing episode. So, and to go a little bit further, talking about the drum and the representation of me, a year, actually less than a year, about 6 months later, we had gone to stay for the summer with my mother on Martha's Vineyard. We decided to work out there for the summer, and I brought my drum so I could play it, and because it's something that I do all the time in meditation, playing my medicine drum. And in the transport, 2 straps actually broke off the drum that were holding the frame, holding the skin to the frame. And it turned out to be like an omen for me, for what was going to happen in my life, because 6 months after that, in the winter, I fell on the ice while walking my dog, and I broke my back. This was not the first time I broke my back. I broke it when I was 16, but it broke in the same places, and it just happened to be in 2 places on 2 separate vertebrae. So just like how the straps of my drum had broken in those 2 spots. But I was able to weave the drum back together, and it still plays to this day. That was actually the drum that you heard in the meditative moment at the end of the episode. And just like the drum was fixed, I eventually became fixed. It was a very long journey for me. I dealt with, back issues most of my life. Like I said, I broke it for the first time when I was 16. So, and I did, all sorts of holistic remedies, and that helped, but it only got me to a certain point. I eventually had to have spinal fusion surgery, that was about a year ago. And now I am healed, and just like my drum that still plays after being broken, I am still living after parts of me have been broken. So I just wanted to share that story and how important the medicine drum is to me, and in honoring the Native American tradition. And I still play my drum all the time. It's super important to me. So it's another healing story about drumming.